From a young age, I felt different, but a lot of people can relate to that, so what makes me feeling different any different than anybody else feeling different, huh? Well, for years I thought it was all in my head. I thought I was a drama queen, as I was told. I thought that it was maybe just anxiety. I had been told a slew of things, from anxiety to depression to type 1 bipolar disorder, to name a few of the misdiagnoses I received. But ultimately, what we arrived at was that that wasn't the case. None of that was the case, actually. And in December of 2021, I would receive my official autism spectrum disorder diagnosis. And I would love to share more of that story with you. Now, I would like to, this is my first video on autism, so I want to preface my story by saying this is not intended as medical advice, okay? And I am not a medical professional in any capacity, nor have I ever been, or probably ever will be, let's be honest. And if you are thinking that you may be on the spectrum, or that you need help, or you need accommodation, then I encourage you to use whatever resources you have at your disposal to seek a diagnosis, or seek help, or seek accommodation or therapy. There are plenty of options out there to help us with our health, mental, physical, all of it. So let's get right into it, you guys. Now I'm going to get into the more unscripted part. That was all scripted. Now that I'm not scripting it, I can be a little bit more. My phone keeps timing out, sorry. Okay, so I have topics written down. Hi, I'm an adult on the autism spectrum, and this is Stitching the Spectrum, my channel. I realized I did this out of order, but I'm trying to do this video unmasked, unedited, and just very real. So I'm an adult on the autism spectrum. This is my channel where I share mainly crochet, but occasionally I will jump on here and talk about autism or ADHD, because I also have ADHD. Now would also be a great time to let you guys know that I also do have a diagnosis of Tourette's disorder. It is something that runs in my family, and I'm not the only one with it. In fact, I have a few family members with Tourette's and movement disorders. In this unedited, unmasked video, you might see me make some movements or sounds that look a little weird, but that's my Tourette's. I haven't addressed it yet before, but there it is. Yeah, I have Tourette's. So, anyway, I have always felt very different, ever since I was a young girl, and that's strange, right? To feel different at such a young age. You would think you're just a child and you're just living life and, doing what your parents tell you and playing with your friends. But even all the way back then, I didn't feel like that all the dots were connected for me. Something felt different, and I struggled a lot with my relationships. I struggled to keep friendships, not really to make them. I've always been pretty good at making friends, but the trouble is keeping them. If the problem is if I don't see that person regularly physically on a regular basis, I'm gonna forget to message them. And that doesn't mean that I don't care. It just means that I have autism and ADHD, and these things escape my mind. Another problem growing up, hopefully I'm not moving too quickly, but this video is going to be a little here and there. um, meltdowns. Meltdowns were a big point of contention between me and adults. In many cases, I had adults that didn't understand what was going on with me at the time that I was having a shutdown or a meltdown, or maybe even just an anxiety attack. And I was just not dealt with in the ways that you should deal with somebody who's struggling with these things. I call it my don't touch me mode, because historically speaking, when it has happened and somebody goes to like put their hand on your shoulder, like, oh hey, it's okay, or in another instance somebody did put their hand on my back during a meltdown, but it was out of a mean purpose. And in a lot of these circumstances I've been known to shout, don't touch me. I just freak out. Don't touch me. I can't be touched right now. Otherwise I'll scream. I don't know what'll happen. Something will happen. None of us will like it. That's how it feels for me. It's a big welling up of negative emotion and feelings and overwhelm from sensory input, and all of a sudden it's like shaking a bottle top, a soda bottle, and it just explodes. If you open up that top, you let it happen, and it's just gonna explode because you shook it up too much. That is how I would describe it for me. Yeah. I myself am, that leading to this topic, I'm sensory avoidant, which means that I don't go out and seek sensory experiences. I typically shy away from them. So I don't like bright lights, I don't like loud noises, weird textures and smells can be pretty bad, but yeah, so those are things that can really throw me off, and because of that, I think I'm sensory avoidant. I do whatever I can to get myself out of the situation. A need for a schedule. I have been really bad at keeping a schedule, and it can, for somebody on the spectrum, it's really important to keep a schedule. But if you also have ADHD or executive dysfunction like I do, then keeping a schedule is actually really hard, even though the other part of you needs it. So that's when it helps to have, if you can, to have individuals step in, have alarms on your phone, get an app. There's plenty of apps to help you get daily stuff done. You can create your own schedule. You just have to be rigorous about it. And like I said, it really can help to have a third party come in, that spouse, that partner, that mother, father, sister, brother, cousin, whatever, whoever they are to you, just a friend. Then, have them, if they can, if they're willing, teach them a little bit about yourself and what you need. And if they're willing, they can help you to accommodate yourself. Sometimes you need help from others to do that, is what I've found. Sometimes you need to go to somebody and say, hey, I need this accommodation, but I can't do it without your help. And in my circumstance with my husband, I have been met with love and respect in those times, and accommodation when needed. Let's move on to the next topic. That blended so perfectly into the next topic, being married. I wanted to talk about this because I don't see a whole lot of people talking about being married on the spectrum very positively. I'm not saying people think it's a bad thing to be married when you're autistic. That's definitely not true. I don't think anybody thinks that. Maybe some weird people do, but nobody here does. And I wanted to touch on how much of a positive experience I have had personally. Now, this is personally. I I found a perfect partner, perfect husband, and he has been able to help accommodate me. He has been able to help show me how to love myself and help show me love. And he has been so understanding um, when it comes to learning more about my disability. And so I don't want people on the spectrum out there who are single to be scared of marriage. I think it's something that we can look forward to if it is your vocation, if that's your choice, if to get married, then I think it's something you should look forward to and not stress about, because when you find that right person and they understand you and they accommodate you, it'll feel like the best hug in the world. And it's a blessing being married for me. I know it can be difficult for a lot of people though, and that's a topic for a different day. Yeah. Okay. Being a parent, there's just a couple more topics I want to talk about. Being a parent is tough when you're on the spectrum, because it comes with a lot of sensory overwhelm. That's the main thing for me, is the loud, just so loud. Kids are loud. They love to scream, they love to shout and sing loudly and talk, and they spill things on the floor you gotta clean up, and it's a lot. Kids are a lot to handle, and they are something to consider carefully. I would say that for sure. I would even suggest having a partner, being married before you have kids, just so that you can have that extra support, that solid support, because as an autistic parent, I don't know what I'd do without my other half, my husband. There's a lot of times where I'm having a meltdown and he says, okay honey, it's time for you to step away and time for me to take over. Is in moments when I can't recognize my interoception, or my ability to recognize my own feelings. I think I'm using that word right. Sometimes he recognizes stuff before I do, and so if I'm having a tough time with the kids, he'll step in and that's one of the ways he helps accommodate me, is if he sees I'm having a tough time but I haven't seen it yet, he will be up front and say it, and say, hey, I think you need a break. I think you need to step away from the kids, crochet a little, go sit in the bedroom, do something, relax, Yeah. And then, last two. This one's important. I wanted to talk about being on the spectrum as a woman. We'll talk about it very briefly. I don't have too much to say. This is an area with a lot of opinion and a lot of information, and I like to leave it up to those who have already tackled it. But I will just say my own personal experience as being a woman on the autism spectrum has been a little rough. People tend to think you're dramatic or rude. People will not believe you when they say you have autism because you're so high masking, because you've had to be. I wasn't diagnosed until the age of, I don't know what age I was. I was 23, so 3 years ago. I was diagnosed, and sometimes people will just straight up say, no, you're not autistic. You don't look autistic. What? Excuse me? I don't look autistic? What does autistic look like? Sorry to get serious here, guys, but what does autistic look like? I don't think it has a look, you guys. Anyway, just had to get that rant out of the way. But yeah, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about was how I accommodate myself. Now, this one is still in the works. I'm still finding new ways all the time to accommodate myself, and one of the ways is I wear headphones earmuffs, headphones, whatever I have on me, out in public, at grocery stores, malls, things like that. I wear sunglasses when I am outside. If I'm in a crowded environment, I will try to get out of there. Not let myself get overwhelmed. What's the point? If you don't like where you're at, leave. So, yeah, if you can, that is, if you have the ability to just get up and take a breather, and then there's other things you can do. There's the National Parks Pass. You can get a lifetime National Parks Pass if you have a permanent disability of any kind, which I believe includes autism. I am in the process of getting that. I will update you guys on that if I get that or not. It provides lifetime free access to all the national parks, and I've heard that it's not a problem to get with autism, so I'm going to try it. We're going to see that. That's one accommodation. That topic I'm still adding to because I'm still new to my diagnosis, only 3 years, and I'm still finding out ways to accommodate myself and love myself, and that is how I'll end the video, is that at the end of the day, the name of the game is finding ways to love yourself and accommodate yourself, finding ways to be a good person and be happy. So, I hope you guys learned a little bit about me, a little bit about autism. If you have watched my videos before, you'll know I'm bad at outros. I'm sure I'll stop saying that eventually, but for now, you guys, thanks for listening. This was quite a long one for me. Whew! Alright. Catch y'all later. Love you guys. See you later.